In this video, I'm going to show you a new strategy that will help you reframe or shift your perspective on ways to address not only the survivor benefit plan problem, but ultimately your other problem, the fact that you're going to be a post-military high income earner and the unique challenges that's going to bring to you. And the mistake that most people make is falling back on the traditional financial portfolio that they've been advised to develop up until their military retirement. What I call the certified financial problem, the fact that we're stuck in a box with not just military guidance and how do you prepare for your post-military life, but also general retirement planning advice, the type of advice that's all just based on 30-year goals, stuff way far away from now, where honestly, nobody has any real responsibility of what the outcome's going to be. But for the survivor benefit plan decision, you actually need to make a concrete decision right now. And the mistake of just guessing whether or not getting enough insurance will solve that problem will backfire, because the reality is it's all based on the fear of what would happen to you. What would happen to your family if something happens? If you get hit by a bus. And yet that's highly unlikely. Like, you're getting out of the United States military and you made it. So chances are you're going to be doing well for another 30 plus years. And you're probably looking to avoid signing up for another 30-year commitment to the government. The mistakes that most are making are being focused on emergencies. What could happen? Do I have enough money with emergencies? And forgetting about what you already have going for you, realizing that the real short-term problem is replacing income. That's actually the emergency. Or being focused on long-term goals. How much money do I have in retirement accounts that are extremely volatile, that you have very little control over what the outcome and how the market performance is going to be. Unfortunately, the advice is just to set it and forget it and see what happens. Or on the risk side of things, just being worried about death and disability. And again, highly unlikely. You're probably a lot healthier than you think. With the private pension approach, the whole new way of looking at this is simple. We're just going to talk about the same type of stuff we do in the military. We're going to talk about going on offense, having a good defense, and being ready for contingencies. Okay, what exactly is a private pension and how do we fund our war chest, and why is it so different than the traditional financial planning, retirement planning approach? And in fact, it's not really too different, because everything you can get from that old approach, whether it's saving for the future, for various goals, for having an emergency fund, and for having a risk management strategy, it's all inside private pension account. So this is an account where you put your money. And the main difference is we're going to focus on three components that are a little more useful in the near term. Still handling all the long-term stuff that will come down the road. What's more useful to you right now is solving the survivor benefit plan problem. What to do about your thrift savings plan. Not knowing if you're going to have the income that you want after the military right away. You maybe need some flexibility. Really what we're doing here is we're doing offensive, defensive, and contingency operations. Same type of stuff we'll do in the military. We want to fund it like we would any sort of account, and then be able to access it whenever we want for any reason. This is where the private pension is so much different. Now, there's a couple stipulations on how it works. Really, what we're doing is we're buying an insurance policy based on a death benefit, and that death benefit has a cost. There is fees and costs involved, but unlike with traditional retirement planning, where you're paying for money managers, where market could go up, market could go down, regardless of how many fees you're paying for the mutual funds or for the 401k or for the Roth IRA accounts or for financial advice that you might be paying extra for, it's always going to be unknowns. They're doing vague projections on long-term 30-year goals, where we're really only paying for the death benefit costs for contingency, because we know two things. One, the only thing we know, the only thing that isn't a variable is at some point you're going to die. So having a death benefit there on that day is important. Now that's defense. That's long-term defensive plan. For contingency, for getting hit by a bus scenario, that actually is a very low probability, right? We want to have low cost. And that's what's so great here. We don't need to pay fees for advice, because everything inside the plan is already included. What you'd be typically paying advice for, how do you manage your investment? That's happening right inside here. with our offensive portfolio inside the insurance strategy. How is this offensive? How do we have an offensive investment growth oriented portfolio inside the insurance? Because unlike getting a Roth IRA or thrift savings plan where your money's being outsourced, here the insurance company is actually buying insurance on the stock market or on various investment portfolios. It doesn't need to be managed. They're using a portion of your funds as you put money into it, a small portion of it, to go towards buying into this offensive strategy. We have a lot more detailed videos with our experts that show exactly how this works. But from a big picture perspective, the idea is your money is not at risk. Your money will get up to 80% of the growth with 0% of the downside. So no risk of losing any money once it's inside this account. But if the market goes up, we can get 80% of the upside growth. So in that regard, we are getting the cost of living adjustment. We're keeping pace with what a traditional retirement portfolio would do performance wise. We're doing it at lower fees, and we have a full defensive component to make sure that the money cannot go down. So you cannot lose what you have in there. And if the worst case scenario happens, then of course we've got a death benefit and other long-term care benefits built in as well. But the main idea here is simply that we're creating a new account that you can access. And what does this mean by access? Because we got to put a minimum amount in to make it work, but there's also a maximum that we can put in. This is based on IRS guidelines. Why would there be IRS guidelines? Because everything inside this strategy is tax-free. So really, when we're talking about risk management or defense, we're talking about defending against taxes or defending against having to even deal with it. You don't have to report money inside this account when it grows. You don't have to report it to the IRS when you're taking it out as income. It's your money to use whenever you want. And that is why it is going to work so much better to be a survivor benefit plan replacement, because with the survivor benefit plan, the only outcome is you get a benefit when you die. Now with this strategy, you can solve the survivor benefit plan problem, because what we'll show you when we start looking at the actual numbers and pull up the spreadsheet is that this number, the money that you're putting into the offensive portion of it, is really what you would have paid for the survivor benefit plan. Because if you sign up for a survivor benefit plan, remember you're committing to 30 years of payments. That could be well over $100,000 or sometimes even $200,000-$300,000, depending on your rank and time and service over that 30-year time frame. What if we put that same amount of money into this strategy? One, we're getting growth over the years that you can access. If something does happen to you, we've got a death benefit component, but unlike traditional insurance, it doesn't run out. The term doesn't run out before you die. Most importantly, your biggest lifetime expense is going to be the taxes that you pay on your retirement accounts. You can only put so much money inside a Roth IRA, and especially now as a high income earner, you can't even put more money into a Roth IRA. So the private pension ends up being the only place where you can position your resources where you don't have to worry about how you access it. So full liquidity is one of the main features of this, and why so many people love it as a replacement for the survivor benefit plan, and even a way to reposition other retirement accounts. Maybe you don't want to take more risk in the stock market with your investment portfolios. Maybe you want to protect what you've already put together inside your thrift savings plan. Because while it's not always all life insurance, there's different types of insurance. There's annuities. Annuity is a stream of income. That's a defensive approach of protecting your assets for future dollars. And there's also a long-term care component. Should you need assisted living care way down the road, you won't have to ever worry about it because it's built into your war chest. So that and many other features are going to really stand out as you learn more and more about this strategy. But in this video, just want to talk about the big picture scenario of what's going on and how your money can better be working for you, whether or not you're just using the money that would have gone to survivor benefit plan or you want to reposition other assets. We look forward to showing you how this will work more specifically for you So schedule a call with myself or one of our experts. By clicking the link below, we will set up a call to go through the numbers with you and see how you can apply to get qualified for this approach. Thanks again for watching this video. If you'd like to see more lessons such as this and a number of articles on topics around survivor benefit plan, thrift savings plan, I'd like to invite you to our new military retirement blueprint. You can get access in the link below, and we'll see you inside the new portal.